Hey, horror fans. Thanks for joining me for this review of The Grudge. Oh, well, looks like I found myself in a bad situation for this review. But, anyways, I'll try to make this quick and safe. As usual, we'll have information down below for you, cast and crew, some other things. But I'll start off with the IMDb plot just to get started. And it says here, a house is cursed by a vengeful ghost that dooms those who enter it with a violent death. Ooh. So here we go. I know many of you, if you ever caught me on the Where the Scary Things Are podcast, you know I love talking about remakes, and because I just believe we have too many of them. It's not, I'm not saying that all of them should never be made and so forth. And I understand the politics and the money and all that besides it. But, it just, to me, it's too much and they just need to let it go. Maybe one remake here or there, but it just seems like we're over flooded with them and it's just over and over and over. And overall, I would say there's more bad than good. Not really doing the accurate count or anything like that. It's just that way. But anyway, I'll save this discussion for later on. Just setting up for this one. Here is a remake that I know a lot of horror fans are like, whatever, I don't know. And it didn't apparently do very good in theaters. I believe it was one of the first horror movies of 2020. And 2020 has been a disaster so far, and so is this movie. um, yeah, it definitely turns out to be a remake that no one needed. They did, the original, I believe it was Japanese, and pretty scary stuff right there. And then, of course, comes to America, and we just killed the movie. The first one was good. And I could see, and it had a success, and I could see, because it had some success, why they did a sequel. But then I believe they even did a third part, and you just wear it out at that point. And then now you're gonna bring it back and just to kill it one more time, just so unneeded. Um, with this one, it just it becomes really too confusing. They do this whole thing where they're just jumping from one family to another family back to this detective. Um, there's a detective who's on the case, and she's, I guess, got a new partner, a guy who's been on the force for a while, and apparently his old partner had something to do with the case of this house, and she stumbles into it. Of course, she's a younger cop and so forth, and she's more curious, so she finds herself in a hole here, and she enters the house, and apparently anybody who enters this house is just doomed. So she suffers from the ghost. She gets haunted and so forth until the very end. And you have, as she's doing her investigation, the movie kind of flips back to this original mother who I guess brought the curse here and brought this to this house. Then you also see another wife and husband couple who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, lived there after this family did, and they become haunted, especially the wife. And the wife in this case and that is played by Len Shay, and she's one of the stars of the movie. She has a smaller role. She's in between, one of the in between families there, and but she is probably scarier than maybe the ghost in the movie. uh, she does a terrific role of playing a wife who's basically lost her mind. Um, she's gone crazy here, and she does some pretty freaky stuff. So she is definitely a standout in this movie. As far as scares, I'm not sure about this ghost back here. It tries. I don't think it's anything like the original. The original was probably, everybody judges scariness for their own. They did the whole thing and the whole voice thing and so forth. I can't do that very well, obviously, as you can see. But, they don't stress it too much in this movie. They kind of use it a little bit. I thought, obviously something that was effective in the American original version. But, they kind of use it a little bit here and then move away from it. I can see why. But, I think they try, but I don't know. I just don't think it's effective. I think because you kind of get lost in the jumping back and forth, it takes away from it. They do try to make it violent and so forth, but again, I think it just misses its mark because it just keeps jumping back and forth between the stories. And, I don't know if they're doing that on purpose, trying to confuse you. They do kind of nicely set up, one of the things I did kind of like is, when the investigation starts, they start by finding a car and someone who's all messed up in it, who's apparently been dead for a long time in it. And, how they get to that point, maybe, again, jumping back and forth might be a little crazy, but then, when you find out, who that is and whatever, you're like, okay. So, that was one part, maybe because it was just clearly obvious and whatever, and you didn't have to really think too hard or keep straight with the story. But, I kind of liked that. But, the jumping back and forth just got me crazy. I believe they went to 2004 and then 2006, and then in the current time with the police, mom who's trying to solve the case. She has a son, and that kind of gets tied into it a little bit towards the end. And of course, there's a thing they go back and forth early on that she says to him that plays true all the way to the end. That the main final act there, I don't know, it was not as dramatic as I thought, and it really did nothing for me. And to kind of go along with the scares, it just, it's good that they tried to make them violent, but overall I really didn't see being scared in it, and didn't find much use of it. So I don't know. And I never really, also on top of that, I just never really bought into the lead actress there, and I guess maybe because the story goes back and forth and so forth, that you don't totally buy into her story or so forth. I don't know, but I just it just falls flat for me. And at the end, when I see the remake just go down the tubes like this, I'm not looking for movies to prove my point into why they shouldn't be done. There's plenty of, I don't know, but there are good remakes out there. Some work, some don't. But the whole point of it all is just, I want to see more originality out there. I see that you try to bring some originality to a story already told, and I think that's just kind of lazy. You can say things are done better. You can do things better a second time. That's true. But in the movies, it's so open, and there's so many things out there to do. So many quality indie films out there that with a bigger budget and better crew and so forth behind it, and acting and so forth, you can make such great films and so forth. Not to take anything away from it, anything that those people are doing, but sometimes a little money on top of it doesn't hurt. And sometimes all it needs is a better actor here or there, and you've got a fabulous film. But instead, we're remaking movies like this, and it's just total downhill. I mean, I can't give much, to recommend in this movie. Like I said, the deaths are okay. They tried to make them violent. They try, but once you get lost in the story, to me, it just takes it away. Um, so with that, I don't think I need to go on anymore. And probably gone over in the time here that I need to with this movie, and I'm sure many of you already have the same thoughts. But I'm gonna give this one probably a 1.5 pools of blood. I don't like doing reviews of movies I don't like. But, this one came out and I felt I have to talk about it just a little bit. Um, but if you are out there and you like this movie and you disagree with me, hey, check out the comment section below and throw in your comment and tell me what you did like about it. And, if you did, you did. I mean, that's great. Um, if you did, I'd wonder if you saw any of the previous movies and your comparison to that. Or if this is your first Grudge movie, maybe that's why you liked it. I don't know. But as always, feel free to comment, agree or disagree. That's fine. That's part of doing reviews. People liking movies and people disliking movies and being able to talk about it. But I'd definitely be curious if you did like the movie, what you did like about it, and if you did um, find watch any of the other movies along with that. So. With that scary noise, this woman behind me making noise or something. All into this review, as always. Um, all the social media down below, and HorrO's goryreviews.blogspot.com is where you can find more reviews, including written ones, in case you don't like watching these videos and me ramble on. And with that, I'll catch you on the next review, horror fans.